Hi everyone, welcome to Movers Signum edition number 3. We are here at Dansens Hus Elverket in Stockholm, and we are the largest stage for guest performances in Sweden. Today you will learn to know 3 Sweden-based choreographers for the next 50 or 60 minutes. And now I will start with Robin Jonsson. Welcome to Elverket.
Thank you.
You have worked with virtual reality. Can you tell me something about how you choreograph with virtual reality? How does that work?
Yes. It's technically a bit complicated, but just to give a quick. So my dancer Nea Landin here, she's wearing a VR headset and a motion capture suit. So she's sort of fully immersed in a virtual digital environment. Mm-hmm. And Evelina here is our audience, and she's also there in a more simple avatar body. Yeah, it's just really fun. It's really like a tool, and it's a really inspiring tool. I mean, it colors the process a lot because it's basically our stage, and we build it from scratch. So we can choose our environments. You can be in a mountain, in a forest, in a cave, whatever, and you can choose how the dancer and the audience looks. You can also, it has this big, it's really interactive. I mean, it's based kind of interactivity, so the dancers, the audience can move freely and talk and interact. Yeah, I can talk forever, but it's like a fun, inspiring tool.
So actually we're here, but we're then not going to be here.
No, exactly.
I understand. With VR, if you kind of like explain a little bit more, how does the audience is the experience totally different, of course? How does the audience react?
Yeah, it's kind of a, now it's fun, but it's quite a sensorily strong experience. So it's very difficult to explain it, but you are fully immersed physically in another environment. And you have another body as well, and you don't look the same. And you can do new things. Like I said, you can move wherever. You can even move through each other. You can move through the dancer. You can even, you can lay on the floor and the dancer will dance above you, or what. I mean, it's just a another kind of physicality. And also, of course, theoretically, you can be wherever where there's an internet connection. So now we've had several shows of another piece in North Carolina. We have 60 shows, but we're performing from here. So we meet them in VR, and the show is there, and it's all live. It's not pre-recorded.
So the audience can be somewhere, and you are somewhere else, totally. But you experience maybe the same thing or not the same thing?
You experience the same thing. I mean, you're in the same environment, but of course you can have different experiences, but you see the same thing. Everyone sees the same thing, and you're in the same room. Robin,
let's see how this works.
Yes, yeah. So now, quick recap, Nea will perform and Evelina will be an audience. And normally my audiences are in VR, but then you will also soon get to see a glimpse into the virtual world.
Yeah, both here and in the streaming.
Yeah.
Super, thank you. Thank you, Robin Jonsson, for this fantastic experience. I have to correct myself. Today we are showing no less than 5 Sweden-based choreographers, so hang on for another 50 minutes for that. Next up, we have Joanna, Holewa, Chrona, and she's going to be performing together with Jared Tillahorn. But first, a short intermission. Joanna.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared, also for this.
Thank you, Jared.
Joanna Oliver Chrona. Come a bit closer so they can get us in with the cameras. Thank you for this. You're a choreographer, you're a dancer. This all, was it improvisation?
Yes.
Yes. Tell me some more about how you work with that.
The improvisation is a very important part for me, and it comes from that the connection is a very important part for my process and for our process in the creation. So to keep the connection that we have between us, it really depends on us being able to improvise, because that's also where it comes from. It didn't come from a set choreography the way we connected. But I would say it's a structured improvisation in the work, because we do have concepts and ideas. But most of the movements that you see is improvised, and that allows us to bring in our expressions, and we bring in the now, and we can bring in our experiences, and it kind of lets the work to breathe and to ever change. So as we evolve, also the work evolves, so it stays relevant for me, it stays relevant for a longer time.
This connection is really interesting that you have with other people that you not only dance with, but maybe also collaborate with, right? And you have collaborated a lot during the last 10 years, maybe. Can you explain, or just...
Yeah. For me, collaborations are everywhere. So when I do a project, it's always a collaboration. I can never do it just, one person. So it's always a collaboration with other artists. And it mirrors the way I live. Because as you say, I've been collaborating for, more than 10 years. I live part-time in South Africa, part-time in Sweden, 6 months, 6 months. And that mirrors and follows me into my work. It becomes a natural thing for me to bring those collaborations into the work, as the work mirrors me as an artist, and my artistry mirrors my life.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Yeah. I think our time is up, and I want to thank you for this. It's really nice to experience that kind of collaboration here. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And now we will meet Frédéric Giers, but first a short intermission. Thank you, Frédéric Giers.
Thank you.
For this. I think that was an excerpt from Terpsichore and Scorpio, right?
Yes.
That we just saw.
Yes, a piece that I created in 2021 for my 30th anniversary of career in the dance field.
Yeah, I see. Thank you for this. I'm going to ask you about the context where you show your work. Can you explain a little bit about these?
Yes. So I carry out my works through my organization that is called Dansens Ancient. And as our goal is to expand where and how dance can be seen and experienced, we try to show our works in a broad range of venues and contexts, from major venues to more confidential places, whether these places are dance or music or art venues or festivals. We also organize ourselves public events locally in Malmö, where we are based and where I live, in the frame of a mobile platform and program that we call Maison de la Danse.
Oh, I see. But does this connect somehow to your choreographic work, the context you choose?
Yes, completely.
Yeah?
So I think that it connects, first of all, it connects to the fact that in my work, I make a point of collapsing the distinctions and hierarchies between what I would call erudite forms of dance and popular forms of dance, making all of them part of the same formal project, actually. It also speaks to the way I make work that I would label as experimental, yet not at all antonymous to being accessible to audiences who don't have necessarily a prior knowledge about dance or even a prior interest about dance.
I see. That's interesting. So you choose the audience, and you choose the context, and the audience then...
Or the context chooses us.
I see.
Yes.
That's nice. Thank you, Frédéric Giers.
Thank you.
Thank you for this. I can take this one. Next up, we have Alma Söderberg. But first, yes, you guessed it, a short intermission. Alma Söderberg, welcome to Dansens Hus Elverket and Movers Signum.
Thank you so much.
First, we're going to talk a bit. You have your chair there behind us. But first, some questions for you. So we talked about creative process and movement language and rhythm. Please explain, how do they connect for you?
Well, so I would say my creative process is very much also based on improvisation. When I start a work, I kind of load myself with desires or themes or curiosities, but I don't really think about what it is I'm going to do exactly. I try to keep that just on a kind of level of intuition or desire. And then I go into the studio, and what I use to get going is rhythm. So I always start from rhythm. And how my movement materials are developed is always in connection to sound. So the way I create these rhythms is by doing both movement and sound at the same time. And that also allows me to actually listen and perceive what it is that I'm doing in a way that's quite concrete, and it allows me to build a performance. It's a very material way of developing a performance, and I feel myself also.
Yeah, it's like parallel lines. You have to create in the moment, and then also kind of record what you're doing,
Exactly.
and then evaluate.
Yeah, which I think also when you're working with rhythm, you are kind of recording as you are working. It's also the way rhythm functions, that you all the time hear what you just did, and you kind of record it, and you relate to it, and you keep working from that. So.
And in your work, you incorporate sound, music, singing, performance, dance, movement.
Yeah.
How does it work?
It came to me from having studied flamenco for a long time, and then coming into a more contemporary dance context, I felt such a need, and performing arts, or performance art even, I would say, quite radical performance art context, I was really needing to feel music again. And understanding what the music is of that situation. So I started using my voice, and I started using the voice and the movement at the same time. And it comes very much from being trained as a flamenco dancer for a couple of years. I no longer perform flamenco. I never really did professionally, but I trained it a lot. And so I feel like I'm a musician and a dancer at the same time. And then I kind of played around with doing that in contexts where there were other traditions. Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the chair is yours.
Yes. The chair is mine. Sit, 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 sit. Sit, 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 sit. Shi, 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 shi. See, 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 So basically, I'm doing this dance sitting because I gave birth to 2 kids, and my pelvic floor doesn't quite hold jumping around dance. So chapeau to Frédéric for doing that. Those jumps, it's not easy. Pelvic floor, 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 pelvic floor to the 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 floor, pelvic floor in my brain, pelvic floor to the floor, pelvic floor to my thinking about it, pelvic floor to the floor, pelvic floor in my thoughts, pelvic floor to the floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor to the floor. I had a flamenco teacher that told me el coño al suelo, which means the cunt to the floor, and I think it's a great way of dancing, but it gets slightly different connotation after the second baby. So pelvic floor to the floor, 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 the body, 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 the body, the body, the body, the body, the body, the body, body inside the body. That's really crazy when you think about it. Body, 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 blood, 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 blood. Thank you.
Niki, Awandee.
Yes.
Welcome to Movers Signum. and Dansens Hus. I'm keeping my pelvic floor to myself now.
Me too.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I talked to Alma about rhythm. I have the same question to you as well.
Yes.
Explain to me, how do you work with the rhythm?
I love rhythm. For me, rhythm is life, and it gives me a lot of life and energy always. And this is something I love to be part of, but also create or just observe. I love traveling, studying rhythms from different cultures and countries because it reflects something from that culture. I love studying the rhythm of nature, how it moves, how it sways, all of that. And for me, rhythm is so much about timing. It's timing. It could be musical timing, rhythmic type of timing, but it's also timing in sensing the room, the space, or a conversation. So for me, it's something that it contains, or it goes into all aspects of life. And I love to celebrate rhythm. So that's what I feel like I'm doing with dance and with just how I live my life. Yeah.
I see. But when you talk about timing, do you use your intuition for the timing?
Nice one.
That's nice.
Yes, definitely. Intuitive timing, absolutely. I try to stay in that because for me it feels like a perfect guide that takes me where I need to be, and when I don't listen, I usually get to pay for it, after. And intuition is something that I've learned a lot through dance because I love freestyle, I love to improvise, I love to be in the moment. It takes me to a deeper part of myself that I can't always access without the rhythm or without just following the intuition. I can't think myself there. It doesn't work. And I feel like I went to like the hard school to learn about intuition because I used to be, and still to this day, do a lot of battles or be part of the battle scene where it's a dance competition where you try to express yourself in your most authentic way in like a very short amount of time, and you don't get to choose your music or when you're gonna dance, so you just have to be open and ready. And if you take away all the competitive aspects and all of this, with the battles, for me, it was a perfect training to tap deeper into myself and to actually go further and maybe harder or softer or whatever way I wanted to express in a very short amount of time. When I didn't have the battles, I had to practice and practice to get there, but it was hard. But when you get kind of put on the spot and someone says, now, you're naked, and you have to own that. So that's my school of intuition.
I see it. I just have to ask you about, because you said when I put the competition away.
Yeah.
How did you do that? I mean, was it easy? Because it is a competition, right?
It is a competition,
Yeah.
but I didn't use it for that. I knew it was a competition, and I sign up, and I'm number 22 and all of this. But for me, it was always a moment to try to get to know myself better, because in that spot, I could reach, like I said, deeper levels of myself. And it was a competition for me to battle with myself. It sounds cliche maybe, but it was like that. So it was about getting into the zone or not. And sometimes I would maybe win the title, but if I didn't get into that part of myself, then it didn't feel 100% right, Sometimes I didn't win, but I tapped in, and then everything's fine for me, Yeah.
So it was more of like a tool.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
We're going to talk about your inspiration for being creative. I mean, you've already mentioned intuition and so on, but where do you tap that from?
Yes. Well, a bit is some stuff that I mentioned with travels and different types of cultures and people. I love to just sit and watch people doing their everyday life, and I create stories around what they do, who they are. Nature as well. But also when it comes to creating pieces, when I go into that mode, I meditate. I use meditation a lot. It's a place where I feel like anything can happen, kind of like dreaming, but you're awake, you know, like this. So maybe you remember it a little bit better. Yeah, I use that a lot for creating actual pieces because I feel like there's something that comes through that I can't think myself to. There's something that comes through that I would never imagine myself if I would choose, what do I want to do? So it's almost like a puzzle and a code for me too. I receive pieces that I'm trying to put together and then, okay, this is how it's supposed to flow. So it's already kind of has a flow before I create it. I'm just there to kind of put it into action.
And when you meditate, how do you record it? Or is it more of a state of mind and you kind of transfer it?
It's different things. One way, I made a piece last year called Headpiece. So that was, how do you create space for peace, basically, for yourself in the world. I spent a lot of time under the stars, hence the costume here, hence the costume. And I would just either dance and move and see what comes up, feeling, thoughts, ideas, or I would just literally talk to them and ask questions. And for me, I hear answers, and I'm like, wow. And when I know it really feels great, then I know it's something there to explore. Yeah.
So you kind of move further and tap into that.
Yeah.
Our time is up.
All right.
Or for the interview, but now you're going to show us some dances of movement.
Yes.
I will take this.
All right.
Thank you, Niki, for that. So this Movers Signum has come to an end. I want to thank all the choreographers who gave us their time and the possibility to pick their brains for 50 minutes. I also want to thank you and the audience for today, for watching. See you in November again, where we will have a new edition with 4 Sweden-based choreographers. See you then. Thank you.